Hello, thanks for joining us for the special 57th Independence Anniversary edition of the AM show. And of course, it is live on the Joynews channel of Multi TV. And many of you may be wondering why we're outside, because Kwame Nkrumah, our first president, when he declared Ghana's independence, declared it just at the old polo grounds, now the Independence Square here in Accra. My name is Roland Walker. And I am Mamavi Owusu-Abwaji. Today we're coming to you live from the Nut Heights at the Independence Avenue in Accra. Very beautiful scenes in the background, and we would love for you to take a look at some of the things that we're looking at in between in the program. But we're 57 years today. We have 3 years to retire. Yeah. Well, if we were public servants, so to speak, but Ghana, of course, is going to go beyond just the normal public service span of somebody who is working within the period. But it's aptly captured that when you're free, it means that you also have a lot of responsibilities. And Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, in one of his numerous quotes, says, freedom is not something that one people can bestow on another as a gift. Well, they claim it as their own, and none can keep it from them. Okay, so let's just say that if we had 3 years to retire, what would we be going home with? Can we confidently say that we can retire in the next 3 years if we were a people or a person working for the nation? Think about it. But everything that we're going to do today is going to be around our 57th Independence Anniversary. Of course, we'll bring you live reports from the Independence Square in Accra. We'll also go across the regions to bring you the Independence Parade. That's the normal one that happens every year, right? Definitely. And we're also connecting with our in-house studio panelists as well as top presenters we have on air, and as they bring us those mix box of production from inside studio, you would also be having as your guests on your own screens people who have lined up for you, from young people who are currently in the university, in second cycle institutions, even those who have completed, giving us a better retrospective aspect of what the country Ghana is, what their own objectives are for the future, and what they hope to achieve. And so it's a whole package for you. And Mamavi, that's why the show is brought to them by Mix It Coffee. So on this particular day, as we celebrate our 57th independence, and it's a holiday, it's a beautiful holiday, you have no excuse. Guess what? You can relax in your bed whilst you watch the show, but make sure it is with a mug of Mix It Coffee. Our show is proudly brought to you by Mix It Coffee, and you can get interactive. Just go to facebook.com/Joynews on TV. Let us know what you think. Today we're outside, and we're here at the Independence Avenue in the Nut Heights building. Tomorrow, you never know where we'll be. Tell us where you want us to be next time. Again, the show is brought to you by Mix It Coffee.
Good morning.
Well, you're still watching the AM show. We're live here. We're coming to you from the Nut Heights, the Independence Avenue here in Accra. Join us with your text messages and your comments. You can go to facebook.com/Joynews on TV. Well, so recently the city has been depreciating. We've all been talking about how badly the city's been doing, and we want to bring you the evolution of a Ghana city.
Up until July 1958, Ghana spent the West African pound, shillings and pence, a currency issued by the West African Currency Board, WACB. After independence, the new monetary authority, the Bank of Ghana, issued its own currency in the form of Ghana pounds, shillings and pence, and formally took over the issuance of currency notes and coins from the WACB. Accordingly, CD notes and peso coins were introduced in 1965 to replace the Ghana pounds, shillings and pence. The new CD went through demonetization and had new denominations introduced by successive governments. The currency, however, weakened after some time and had to be redenominated to change its face value against the major trading currencies. The currency continues to struggle till date. But for post-independence MP Lucy Enin, the self-sufficient nature of the economy in the 1950s and 60s sustained the currency.
For a long time, we were changing £1 to 1 cedi. There wasn't a big deal because at that time we were really producing. We were self-sufficient. We had almost the whole country was spread by poultry farms. We even used to grade eggs in the market because every country, every place we had a poultry farm. We were producing our own sugar from our 2 sugar estates, which is Commander and Esuchare, you see, and we are not importing much. Now, go to the market. All over the country, there are rubbish and everything. It's all money. We exchange to buy and put it in our market. So far as we are not self-sufficient, we continue to depend on imports. I don't think there will be any hope in our city. Our city will continue to fall and fall and fall. You see,
even if we redenominate, it wouldn't change anything.
It doesn't help. If we do that, it doesn't help as a nation.
She expressed disappointment as successive governments, who she contends have failed to move the nation forward after 57 years of liberation.
Do we have to import sugarcane in order to have sugar factory? We can easily plant sugarcane here in Ghana to produce sugar. You see, and the factories are still lying idle.
Who would you blame? I mean, a lot of these factories are
successive governments. They have no clue. They have no vision. You see, and God being so good, Nkrumah put everything on paper. The 5-year development plan on paper, 7-year things is work and happiness. It's all documented. Why can't we go straight in and follow? Our factories are still there. I was the chairperson of the State Footwear Corporation in Kumasi near Shapate. It was just a whole village still lying idle. Why can't you manufacture even Achimota sandals for our school children instead of our children always going in Brunuwe? Why? Are we being realistic? Or, you see, we need to be realistic. We need to have a vision for this country. I am so sick and so mad when I see how Ghana is moving, as if we are having backward march.
Independence will be celebrated year after year, but for Lucy Enin, the celebrations will be meaningless and the strength of the local currency will dissipate till national leaders work assiduously to strengthen the manufacturing sector and boost exports. Abigail Adumakwinchi for Joynews.
And Abigail Adumakwinchi bringing us that very comprehensive perspective as to how the CD actually came into being, and also what the perspective have been from various people who have over the years witnessed a lot as far as Ghana's economy is concerned. But after 57 years of independence, do you think in your perspective we've done enough to warrant that very status as having performed well? How would you grade the country Ghana? How would you grade yourself? How would you grade the leaders who have passed on? And so let's say from a mark of 0 to 10, what will be your own continuous assessment and overall or total mark as far as this very independence celebration is being brought into being? Please get interactive. We have the social network page on Facebook, Joynews on TV, but also the short code 1760 will get you interactive. Well, one of the foremost universities in Ghana, the University of Ghana, now is doing something more innovative than many other institutions, not only around the world but also in Africa. They have a mock parliament, and having been in this very dispensation, the Fourth Republic, since 1992, you say that now the university seems to have come of age as far as trying to groom young political leaders or other leaders into other sectors of the country. Well, we have representative of that very mock parliament in the studio, and we have with us Hadi Yakubu. Hadi Yakubu is the Speaker of the University of Ghana Parliament, and Prosper Jiche is also the Deputy Majority Leader in the Parliament. First, I'll start by asking you, if we're having a mock parliament, Yakubu, what does it mean at all? Honorable Yakubu.
Actually, right honorable.
Okay, right honorable.
Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to your listeners and viewers. Actually, to have a mock parliament is merely to make sure that we acquaint ourselves with the rudiments of parliamentary practice, and to make sure that we groom ourselves in the practice, so that, I mean, in the future, when you have a chance to be in the honorable house, you know how to conduct the business. You know, because basically to represent people is not an easy thing, and you ought to have learned over time what it means to be a member of parliament. And that's exactly what the University of Ghana Parliament House and its sister parliament houses across the campuses of the universities across Ghana is doing.
So having all these very concepts replicated across various universities in Ghana means that perhaps the idea is also to create that very synergy among young people. Do you think that that very synergy is being created? Does it imbibe in you the sort of philosophies and the principles of political leadership? I have to ask you, Prosper.
Yes. Thank you very much. Let me also use the opportunity to wish all Ghanaians a happy 57th independence anniversary. Yeah, I think that indeed that is being achieved. But not long ago, when University of Cape Coast, and we had a debate, a mock parliament with them on their SRC week celebration, as part of the SRC week celebration. So we actually had that particular sitting with them. That's University of Ghana Parliament House versus University of Cape Coast Parliament House. And as he rightly said, what we do is the direct replica of what is done in the national parliament. So as much as possible, we try to look at how policies are formulated and how the various laws are made for the country. So that not only maybe when we have the chance to be members of parliament, but of course we believe so much that many of the people we see around, or many of the parliamentarians, who want to be in positions to make policies for the country, so they must be able to acquaint themselves with the procedures that are used in making the various laws for the country, so that when they get there, the mistakes that our forefathers made will be minimized.
And having that very soft structure, the same foundation as we have in the national parliament, does it give us the idea that perhaps you have been elected there because you represent political parties?
Let me say that ours is not political. Even though we have caucuses, like we have majority of.
So how do you get elected then?
What happens is that you pass through a procedure, a process. You are vetted. So you pick a nomination form. After picking the nomination form, we have that is a vetting committee. And the vetting committee actually vets you based on the procedures that are put in place. So at the end of the day, we are able to see whether you qualify to be a member of parliament. And to be frank with you, many a times there are people who actually apply yet they don't qualify. So at the end of the day, when you qualify by the standard that have been set, then you become a member of parliament who ballot. After balloting, when you get majority, you go to majority. So when you pick minority, you go to minority. So we discuss issues, national issues, issues that affect students across the country, issues that are internationally recognized, and yet we don't discuss them based on partisan line or party line.
We're always told that at the university level or at the tertiary level, that is when people tend to have their formative ideas as to which political ideologies they would want to align themselves to, etc. Do you get the same feeling around your university campuses, especially now that you participate fully in this very mock parliament?
Yes, exactly. A lot of people are taking the steps to shape their political, ideologies on campus. That's why you have the representatives of the parliament. They have all these political parties have their student organizations on campus. You have TAIN for the NDC, you have TESCOM for the NPP, you have TESCHAT for the CPP. So yes, they have people in there who are taking steps to shape their political ideologies. But I have to say that in this age, what I particularly have observed is that a lot of people tend to ignore ideology when they want to join political parties.
You think ideologies are critical?
Ideology is very, very critical, because you see, before you can do anything, it must have a philosophy, it must have a foundation. You understand? Before you can build anything upon it. So if you ignore ideology, then you lose the concept, you lose the elementary basis, you lose the you know, the foundation upon which whatever you believe in you know, stands. And so ideology is very important. So currently I am seeing that a lot of people ignore ideology when they want to join political parties. Probably because of the kind of patronage that we have witnessed in our political landscape. People join political parties not because they believe in the principles and the ideology of the party, but because they believe they stand a chance to gain one thing or another. So that is what is happening.
Across the media and also in the public is a lot more discussion and participation in public issues to make sure that whoever the duty bearer is, and this time we're talking about governments and its quasi-institutions, are able to be in a position of responsibility, accountability, etc. How do you make sure that as young people you're very much accountable to the very tenets that are expected to be respected at the national level?
Well, as young people, you know, students in an institution, you are governed by law. You are governed by status of the university. And so you do everything in consonance with the status of the university and on a larger scale, the laws of Ghana. So we abide by those laws. We abide by those statutes. And whatever happens on the University of Ghana campus, we make sure that we account to the followers that are following us. 57 years. What do you think, as young people, you have learned from the past? What do you think we've gotten wrong? And how do you think that perhaps we can build better foundations than the current crop of leadership we have for the future, perhaps in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, etc.?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that 57 years in the lives of a nation is not an easy one. But that, we have to look at it from two angles. First, the number of years we've spent. And secondly, our level of achievement as a country or as a nation. And I think that if it's the number of years, of course, 57 years, as I said, is not something we can joke with. But let's look at achievement so far. Aside the fact that we've been able to maintain some relative peace or some level of peace, been able to maintain some level of unity to this very level, I think that Ghana has not actually achieved much because we are not an island. And when we're talking about achievement, we are supposed to actually compare ourselves to other countries or other nations that also attain independence
within the period.
Yeah, within the same period. But when we compare that, I think that our achievements have not been to the level where we can hit our chest and say, indeed, Ghana has done so much, or indeed we've achieved so much. And I think that the challenge has been that the issue of actually politicizing everything, the issue of, well, I am not in power, so the current person must not succeed, the issue of leaving everything and thinking that it is the job of government, it is not my job, the issue of, well, let us see, let us leave them, so that when they fail, they'll say that indeed I was right. Those things have been some of the challenges that I think our country has actually been confronted with. And it's very important to establish that no nation can ever develop. There's no way any nation can ever develop when the majority of the people sit back, relax, and watch just the few to take the initiative. So that when we are saying this, we should not think that governance is about just the political leaders. We should not think that leadership is just about those who are actually playing the front line role. We must see ourselves as those who are supposed to take the initiative at every point in life. We are students, so as a student, what must be my responsibility towards my country? What must I be doing to make sure that everything that I have is actually made use of to maximize whatever success that our country is supposed to earn? I think we have to be looking at these things so that as we progress, within the next year, we should be looking at achievements more than we have now.
And he's identified in terms of the political behavior and perhaps the lack of maturity in his own observation, and I believe that in your own eyes, or what has been very pervasive at the national level when it comes to politicking, so to speak. Do you think that as young people, and especially when you are involved in mock parliament, doing all this practice, what do you think you have learned from this? What do you think you can take as Biden principles for the future?
I have learned, over the years in the university as a student leader, that at any point in time we must learn to stick to principles. It is when everything else falls, it is principle that stands. I have grown to know that a lot of things have gone wrong in this country, and a lot of things have been going on. A lot of decisions are taken, a lot of politicking is done based on partisanship, based on polarization, based on patronage. No principle. And once you lose grip of principle, you lose grip of everything. So for me, it is important for us to go back and look at the principles that were considered when Ghana was being founded. Look at the principles that our forebears, followed in making sure that they fought for independence, and they fought for our Republican status, and they fought for a nation that would grow, to develop its people and make sure they achieve their aspirations.
We have to call a wrap on this very discussion, but as you go forward and you go back to your campuses, what do you carry with you 57 years on?
57 years on, I can't really say we have done so much for ourselves. I can't say we have really done so much for the generations that are yet to come. If you look at the young people of this country, and in fact, let me even take it to Africa on a continental level, you realize that the population of young people is the largest among the demographics. When you take young people, they are more than old people. And that should have been a big advantage for us. But at the end of the day, what is being, we are seeing a lot of people who are virtually becoming desperate because their aspirations are not being realized. They are unemployed. They can't. Some of them cannot find shelter. Some cannot find clothes. So all these things, come to play when we are talking about our achievement. And I think that there's much more that we have to do if we are to call ourselves a proud people.
Yes, thank you. But I think that as much as possible, it's very important for us to recognize that as a nation that is on the move, it's important for us to get certain things right. We need to, as a matter of agency, put in place a structure that is made up of a non-partisan group of people that will be able to put in place a developmental agenda for the country, so that every government or every politician who seeks power should be able to tell the people that this is the policy that we have, this is the developmental agenda we have as a country, but this is how I intend to do it. The other one also tell us that this is how I intend to do it. We already know our priorities, just that we are not getting them right. And until we get them right, I think that will be marking time.
I guess you've heard from, I don't know whether we should say the young future political leaders of Ghana, but according to the 2010 population and housing census conducted in Ghana, we have at least from the ages of between 1 and 30, the population over 60% in Ghana. And so it means that at least young people need to be given a voice, young people need to be heard, and they also need to have an idea and a perspective how they want their future shaped like. Many of you have been getting interactive through the social network page Joynews on TV on Facebook, and also the short code 1760. I have this one from Osei Boating, who is giving us this very text from Kumasi, who says that I feel proud as a Ghanaian, but I don't feel proud how governance is being conducted in Ghana. And that's from Osei. Now, Vida Edum says, I feel we can do better than we're doing. Okay, a lot of the I feels. What do you feel? Please get interactive. We have Joynews on TV, on Facebook, and also the short code 1760. In the meantime, though, we'll have to take a short break. When we come back, I'll be joined by Mamavi, and we'll be looking at what the stories are on this very Independence Day of Ghana, and what the stories are on the front pages of the newspapers we have here. Do stay on. We'll be right back. Thank you very much for passing through. Yeah.